In this video, we're going to unravel one of the most surprising effects Dynamo presented to the public. A trick that, at first glance, seems to completely defy the laws of logic and physics. What happens on camera leaves anyone with the feeling that they have witnessed something impossible. Please stay with us until the end, give us a like, and subscribe to see more videos like this. Now let's continue. Everything begins in a very simple way. Dynamo takes an ordinary bucket and clearly shows it to the people around him, making it evident that it's empty. There are no apparent tricks or suspicious elements. Then he tilts the bucket downward, gives it a slight shake, and unexpectedly a fish falls to the ground. The astonishment is immediate. However, far from ending there, Dynamo shakes the bucket again, and this time not just one fish comes out, but several, one after another without stopping. When he finally stops, the ground is covered with fish. At first glance, the amount seems to far exceed the bucket's capacity. It's impossible to imagine that all of that could have been hidden inside. Even if one were to think of a false bottom, the number of fish would make it impossible to show the inside of the container, not to mention the weight it would imply. By eye you can count close to 50 fish or more, some of them even hidden beneath the pile. Based on their appearance, they seem to be sardines, a very common fish in South African waters, and since the trick was recorded precisely in South Africa, the total weight would be no less than 12 kilograms. However, Dynamo holds the bucket without any visible effort. This raises the first big question: did everything really come out of a single bucket? If we look closely at the beginning of the trick, the inside of the bucket looks completely clean, even after the first fish falls out. But before more fish start coming out, the bucket suddenly appears dirty. Another key detail adds to this. There is no continuous shot that shows the entire process from start to finish. There are too many cuts, angle changes, and audience reactions, far too many to be coincidental. This is where a fundamental psychological concept comes into play: inattentional blindness. It's the same phenomenon demonstrated in a famous experiment where people are asked to count ball passes, and almost no one notices a gorilla crossing the scene. When our attention is focused, we miss obvious details. To build this illusion, 3 cameras were used: a frontal one, another positioned to Dynamo's right, and a third with a tighter shot. Each angle shows incomplete information. The first camera hides the true size of the pile of fish. Then, at another moment, that same angle tilts slightly downward and reveals the accumulation, making our brain assume it was always there. The second camera repeats the trick. It shows the pile and then lifts up just before the key moment. The third shot reinforces visual continuity and further deceives our perception. Everything seems like a single continuous action, when in reality it isn't. But the most important question still remains: where were the fish hidden? The answer is in the bucket. If you look carefully, you can notice a strange gap between the cylindrical part and the base. In common plastic buckets, both parts are a single piece. Here they're not. When the bucket is tilted, the base seems to move slightly. This confirms the presence of a false bottom. The bucket had a semicircular lid that opened by gravity when tilted, allowing the fish to fall out. In reality, 4 different buckets were used. The first and the last contained only 1 fish and could be shown on camera. The second and third had much larger compartments and were never shown from the inside. Although there is a theory that suggests the use of mirrors, the real footage clearly contradicts it, since you can see the fish coming directly from the movable base. Finally, the audience never noticed the bucket switches. The trick was far less spectacular than it appears on screen. The editing and camera angles completely transformed the perception of the effect. If you liked the video, please give us a like, subscribe and press the bell button to receive all our updates. A big thank you and see you in the next video.